Order in the court. Order in the court. Listen, gentlemen, this is my court. This is the Honorable Adam. And today we have the plaintiff, Scott, who is arguing that video games are a waste of time and for children. The defendant, Alex, is arguing the opposite. And gentlemen, listen, there will be order in this court. You will follow my rules and my jurisdiction. Now, each individual will have 3 points to present. Each point, I will allot a time limit of 2 minutes. I will cut you off, and I will also give you a 30-second warning during that time period. So an example would be individual 1 presents their point, and then after that point is presented, the second individual will have 1 minute of rebuttal, of counterpoint, and then that 2-minute time period to present their next point. At the end of this deliberation, this presentation, I will single-handedly deliberate with myself. A verdict will be brought down and handed to this court in which you must respect. Gentlemen, are you ready for your opening arguments and the decision on who will begin this court presentation?
Yeah, let's do it. I'm ready to defend the honor of all gamers.
All right.
Let's get it on.
Alex, I will let you begin by both of you choosing a number of fingers. You will be the even individual, and Scott, you will be odd. You will sum the number of fingers. Whether it's even or odd, you will have the decision to present first or make the other defend first.
All right, give us a countdown.
All right. 3, 2, 1. Now. 5. So, Scott, you have the decision. Would you like to present your point or let
This isn't
Alex...
fair. I should get to go first because I'm defending.
Well, too bad.
What's the logic
Don't
there?
you challenge me. Scott, would you like to present first or make Alex present?
Well, I would like to present first, but since Alex has requested, I'll let him go first.
How magnanimous. All right. I want to clarify the court. We had a guy coming in here hot and heavy with opinions, and I can't let these fly. It was an affront to all gamers saying that video games are a waste of time. Not only did that burn my hide, he also said that they were only for kids. Listen, I'm not a kid. I'm a grown man. I'm a master debater. I've been in this realm my entire life, and I'm ready to take you to school. I'm an educator of facts, and I'm going to bring you the facts. And I'm going to bring you a fact right now. Number 1, games are a waste of time. Why? Because they're a method of incentivizing technological advancement. This is something you probably didn't think about. It's not going to be in your books. It's not going to be in your legal history. This isn't something you're going to find out on the streets, playing games, reading your science books. Here's the deal. In a world where scientific funding is funded only by the elites in their government on their white towers sitting there looking down on us, they control what we're going to study. You know how you can control what we're going to study? The advances we're going to make with technology? By playing video games. What do you think they're going to do with that supercomputer technology? No, they're just going to figure out ways to break the tax codes. No, we have video games as a way to provide entertainment for gamers, of course, but it's also a capitalist venture to ensure that processing power, graphical power, computer technology is going to advance. We're talking in multiple realms. Ray tracing has been pushed to the forefront by gaming. Artificial intelligence has been pushed to the forefront by gaming. Internet connectivity and speed has been pushed to the forefront by gaming. And all of that has been incentivized by this huge market of video games that exists simply to entertain. So while you might feel, while you might feel like you're wasting your time playing a video game, Scott, you're not, because what you're doing is you're providing financial incentive for these companies to create new technologies and advance new technologies and make more and more money with this advanced technology. And they're doing it for you, and they're doing it for the world. And when we finally have fusion reactor and instantaneous internet and teleportation, it's all going to be because video games finance that venture. Video games aren't a waste of time. You're a waste of time for thinking they're a waste of time.
I'm expired. Thank you for your presentation.
You're welcome. Did I win?
Plaintiff, your 1 minute rebuttal period will begin now.
Okay. Yeah, because as we all know, the Teslas of this country and it are being powered by Nintendo level CPU. Give me a break. No.
They're powered by GPUs. You can play The Witcher 3 on your Tesla.
Hey, this is the plaintiff's time.
Thank you. The short of it is, okay, so you're telling me that video games built the supercomputers and the internet? No, the military and big business are driving technological advancement, and all of the gaming consoles out there are lagging decades behind
what do you think Call of
what
Duty
the military has already accomplished. And it's free market capitalist competition between IBM and Microsoft, and you've got it's
Xbox.
This is what's driving technological advancement. And not only that, but government funding scientific laboratories. It used to be wealthy donors like Rockefeller would be funding science. Now we prefer tax funding it. These things, we have these national laboratories, the military, and big businesses, not necessarily big, but you could have mechanical engineers doing curiosity experiments and so on. But to suggest
your counterpoint time period has ended, are you prepared to give your opening statement and your first point?
Almost. Let me scroll back up here on my notepad.
While he catches up on his malarkey, I just want to say Call of Duty, Modern Warfare, Microsoft, they make the Xbox. Thank you very much. Every single video game console has an IBM processor in it because that is what is going to be, that is what motivates it.
And guess who made it? IBM, a business, not a video game developer.
All right. Is your first point prepared?
Yes.
Let's hope it's better than his rebuttal.
All right. Your time period will begin now.
Okay, so thank you for this opportunity. I was not prepared to present only one point at a time. So to say briefly, this is a problem that's affecting half the nation, according to Harvard. We'll get more on that later. So this is a very big deal, very big problem. The 3 points that I'm going to discuss in total are that video games are distracting you from the purpose of your life and potentially thwarting the intended end goal of it. It's hurting your life and it's hurting the lives of other people. These are my 3 points. So the first point, I may be causing someone to win a bet here, but because one of you knows me and what my character is like, but it's a distraction from the purpose of our life. Okay, so this knowledge of further reality beyond what's right in front of us, in particular, a certain Jesus of Nazareth, I'm going to say, and what happened historically in the past, and then what's going to happen to us after we die, and to learn what happened, what is real, and why are we here on this planet. If you're wasting your time in fiction, just enjoying little stories or just boxing games and all this stuff, this has nothing to do with reality, nothing to do with why you're here and what's happened before you, what's going to happen after you. So we need to be spending our time learning about reality, not filling our mind. Thank you. Not filling our mind with both sometimes literal nonsense, otherwise just pleasure that has no meaning, or fiction that is not connected to our reality here. So that would be the first point. And then the other points are building on that. So it's imperative, especially if the survivor theory is correct, that we continue to exist after we die. This could have huge, inconceivably large ramifications on ourselves. So it's imperative that we don't waste time on gaming.
I apologize. Must cut you off.
Rebuttal time. Master debater, or is this pastor debater? Oh my goodness. Let's get in here. You talk about little stories. Here's the thing about little stories. Let me tell you about a guy who liked little stories. His name was Jesus, and he had little stories called parables. Parables that teach you lessons. They strengthen your mind with logical puzzles, and they cause you to solve problems mentally. That's what video games are doing. Video games have the power to be modern parables. You can tell small stories. The other thing about the purpose of your life, surviving after your life, what are you going to do? Video games with the advances of technology is going to give you an afterlife. You can upload your consciousness to this multiple reality, and you can exist in a multiverse, a metaverse, if you will, Dr. Zuckerberg. And it's going to allow you to really realize this future reality that you might want to see after your life. And to talk about reality, are you telling me it's not real when I'm upstairs shaking my ass to Beyonce and Just Dance, burning calories and bonding with my daughter? That's reality, baby. That's the real deal. And that's video games.
And that's your time. Are you prepared for your second point, defendant?
Yeah, I'm prepared.
All right, your time will begin now.
Studies have shown in the University of Oxford that it is possible to expand spatial memorization techniques through the forms of virtual immersion. Video games help your spatial reasoning abilities. It's possible to expand your ability to solve spatial problems, to remember spatial locations, and flex your ability to handle what would typically only be handled by matrix multiplication. There's a difference between seeing something drawn in 2D on a piece of paper or seeing something in like a movie or reading a book than it is experiencing it, tackling these problems with yourself, and maintaining a virtual mindset in your brain, a 3D space that you're navigating in with controls that you have, whether it be through a controller, it's still your brain processing the movement through this space. Now, while you're just playing a game and you're progressing through a story is one thing, but you are flexing your ability to survive in another location, to take in information from another location, to memorize that location, and to adapt rapidly. This is something you can't do with books. This is something you can't do with movies. This is something you can't do with typical forms of art. But with the engagement of video games, you have the ability to go into a space, explore the space, realize the space, and then control the space and affect the space around you. It's a new form of brain flexing, of brain utilization, and it's not something that you can have anywhere else. So while you're just playing a game, while you're getting headshots in Call of Duty, your mind's doing complex calculations that the very calculations that we evolved to be able to do when we were in the hunter-gatherer phase of our life. And we're just continuing to evolve, and video games are accelerating that evolution. And it's a wonderful thing. It's something we couldn't accelerate before. Now we're accelerating at a faster pace than we ever could before because we don't need to hunt anymore. So we lost
30-second limit or
okay.
warning.
I see the rest of my time because I'm making a hole in one case. Oh no, how many seconds I got? 15 seconds? Video games are great. Not video games are bad. Is that is it the Beatles? Was that in the Peter Jackson movie that just came out?
Nope.
Don't care because your time's up. All right, plaintiff. Are you prepared to rebuttal that argument?
Yes.
Your time will begin now.
Okay, so everything he just said is better suited to something we call going to the park, going to the playground. All those things about navigating 3 dimensions. Guess what? We have that at the park and the playground. And as for developing a spatial reasoning, build toy models. You can. My nephew is building Lego kits and toy planes and things, and these continue to exist without consuming electricity all the time just to try to stare at it in front of a TV screen. This is a real model you can actually pick up with your hands.
Oh, did he make Lego blocks out of clay?
Interrupter.
Actually, do you mind if I interrupt? I will provide you some time. Okay. I need a quick recess because I need to crack. I need to crack that pack. We got a Pokemon Celebrations pack real quick. I got to open it. I've been dying. I've been waiting all day. I hope I get the Charizard.
And look, he's practicing his motor skills opening this pack.
He needs to play more games so he can get his timing down.
Oh, look at that, a real thing that he's holding in his hands.
Look at that, it's a full art Pikachu.
That's pretty cute.
5. You may proceed. I have added time to your rebuttal period.
So building models, including opening packages, as you just did, is working on your spatial skills. And a detriment of video games here, you lose out on gross and fine motor skills if you're not doing fine things with your hands as a child. So if you are on a computer screen the whole time, you could actually be developmentally retarded in that capacity, losing the spatial, the ability to manipulate space with your hands because you were busy doing this the whole time, that you never learned how to do this and other
This man never played VR.
things.
This man never played VR, never played on a DS.
All right, your rebuttal period has ended. Are you prepared to give your second point?
Yes.
All right, I will begin your time now.
Hey, so when you play video games, you're actually hurting other people by what you're failing to do and what you're neglecting to do. We're here to be making the world a better place, which you are not accomplishing when you're sitting alone in a room. In particular, this creator of our reality put us here to do works of mercy, feed the hungry, give drink to the thirsty, shelter the homeless, visit the sick, visit prisoners, bury the dead, give alms to the poor, which means you have to make money first so you can give it to people who don't have it, counsel the doubtful, instruct the ignorant, admonish the sinner, comfort the sorrowful, forgive injuries, bear wrongs patiently, pray for the living and the dead. These things, helping other people, is what we're here for. And you sit in front of a television enjoying some story, pleasuring yourself with the graphics and music, and you're just staring at a screen. You're not helping anyone else. You're not accomplishing the things that you're put here to do. You start up businesses to create products that people need to solve their problems, making money, giving it to poor people who need money, and hanging out, going to hospitals, visiting sick people, going to prisons, visiting them there. All these things that we're supposed to be doing to develop our character are being neglected for the sake of this. So
Your
that's
30-second warning
second point
period.
made. Let's see what else to say to add on to that. So that's also hurting you when you're missing out on this relationship with other people that you're not helping. So you miss out as well as them.
All right, your period is pretty much up. We'll count that. Defendant, are you prepared to rebut and refute what was just presented?
I think the existence, the fact that I play video games and I'm having this discussion is one of these charitable acts that I'm performing for Mr. Scott here. I'm forming a relationship with him because I play video games and he has such a misguided opinion. So it's part of my video games have caused me to enter the space where I am able to help him. So without video games, I wouldn't be able to assist him and set him in his ways. Let's put aside the fact that there's multiplayer games out there. There's MMORPGs out there where people do create strong, long-lasting relationships, where people do start small businesses looking at things like Second Life, looking at things like, skin creators, graphic designers that are contributing to these online multiplayer spaces, and they're making careers out of it, and they're creating artwork that's being sold in and used in video games. Putting aside the fact that, young children are learning how to make computers manually in Minecraft because that technology doesn't exist outside of the virtual world. These are all things that are good and provide a purpose for life. But the video games aren't hurting me. The only character we need to develop is our characters in Final Fantasy and get them up to level 99.
I'm not afraid to get the Baylor.
Yeah.
It will mess you up. Are you prepared?
Is that a summon? Is that a summon from Tifa?
Yes.
I haven't played Final Fantasy. Is Tifa somebody you play as?
She is.
Is she the one with the tickle bitties?
Yes.
Am I going to get held in contempt?
In Final Fantasy VII is where she's from. Are you prepared to give your final point in this discussion, in this courtroom?
Yeah. And I think it's the most important point. Am I ready?
You may begin.
I want to bring up the point that I think has allowed me to have the success that I have in my life. And it's something that's been granted me and flexed in video games. And it is the incentivized problem solving with the ever shifting rule structures. Every video game has a different engine, more or less. Every video game has a different set of rules. And even within a game, the rules might change on a whim. With video games, with level progression, with looter shooters, with any kind of, winning scenario that a game provides, you are incentivized to win, but you're also incentivized to solve problems. Problem solving is one of the key tenets of education. It's one of the things that's most gratifying that you can have in life. And video games allows you to solve problems and test your ability to solve problems. Whether or not these problems you're solving have real life ramifications, it enables you to be able to solve problems in real life because you've practiced with this ever-changing rule set. And if life is anything, it's ever changing. The rule sets are constantly changing for you, and you got to be prepared for that. Video games offer a preparation. The rules are going to change in life. How are you going to handle it? If you play these games, you have the different game modes. You have new struggles that are coming your way. You've prepared your life down one path. You're suddenly thrown down a different path, and you got to overcome that. That's what games are allowing you to do. Whereas in real life, you're slowly moving. You never know if you're going to encounter something different. And when you do encounter something different, if you're not prepared, you're going to get steamrolled, just like you're getting steamrolled tonight in the Master Debater session. I cede my time.
All right. Point ended. Plaintiff, are you prepared for your 1 minute counterpoint argument?
Yes.
Your time begins.
So his main points were about rules constantly changing and problem solving. Both of these you get more experience with in the real world, primarily socialization and in being out in society where unexpected things will happen. Even things like fender benders when you're a car. Anyway, to get to that. So then for problem solving, that's better done math, physics in particular, science, engineering, physics, engineering. Imagine how
you can't do that when you're 5.
How much earlier
you can't do that as a kid.
Okay, you can't do that as a kid. You can do math and physics and science as a kid and get started early.
You can start doing it before you can read with video games.
Will you let him finish his point, defendant?
It's not a point if it's bad.
So we'll get back to that. For changing rules, socialization.
Give me my time back.
What?
I ceded the time. Give it back to me. How many seconds do I have? 15 seconds?
Order in this court. We will take turns.
That's fine. We have a back and forth here. Yeah, I mean, so sure. Let's see. Okay, so you can't read when you're a kid. You can't. What age
can't read
are you
now.
talking about? I was about to say. I mean, there's puzzles that kids can do that they can work on, block puzzles. You don't have to be able to read to be able.
So
I
got to buy new blocks every day, as opposed to just playing one game with the rule set right there. Sounds very privileged to constantly be having these blocks, have playgrounds outside your front door.
No, you can go to the library.
You're not living in the middle of a winter tundra like I am.
You don't have libraries in the winter tundra land?
They're illegal here.
What?
Yeah.
Well,
can we get fact check? Because if that's a lie in the courtroom, you're in big trouble, mister.
Perjury.
That's right.
Well, that's a good point. I have to concede that video games can enable certain things that would be very expensive to make.
Yeah, like building a computer in Minecraft. And Minecraft is free, as opposed to building a computer and getting your own electrical circuit board to build a computer. And then if you screw something up, you burn it and you fry it and you got to buy a new one. In Minecraft, if you mess something up, you just scrap it. Is it time for his third crappy point?
Yeah, probably.
First of all, you cannot address the plaintiff that directly and that derogatorily, as I made that
Thank you, Queef.
Okay. But permission to approach the bench.
Permission to fry you in the chair if you don't stop lying and interrupting this courtroom. Now, plaintiff, are you prepared to give your final point?
Yes, I'm prepared for my final point here.
All right, your time will begin now.
Okay, finally, we could say that video games are unhealthy for you. I mentioned Harvard at the beginning. Harvard, this physician in December 2020 and their health blog, he writes that video games can cause carpal tunnel, tendonitis, social withdrawal, loss of pleasure, loss of interest, loss of relationship, educational and career opportunity loss, escapism rather than personal growth to overcome life challenges, lack of self-control, sleep sleep deprivation and insomnia, depression, anxiety, aggression, desensitization to violence, which then promotes loss of empathy, increasing the probability of committing violence. Gaming stifles children's ability to overcome challenges as they prefer to avoid confronting them by escaping into video games, particularly when they're in middle school. Further loss of socialization. In fact, here's from a 2021 Canadian Journal of Family and Youth. Video games are so bad for children that researchers aren't even asking whether they're bad. Instead, they're asking the question of how much benefit can be had from parents regulating and managing their use like drugs, basically. How you have to, in moderation, like alcohol, which is not good for you in the first place. Let's see. I was going to say something else in connection. Oh yeah, physically unhealthy. The Netherlands, Radboud University, again, this year published findings that for the musculoskeletal problems from being sedentary, we usually say obesity, but it's just when you're not using your body, you get these problems from sitting too long. Sure. This is a positive feedback loop that video games can cause because gaming makes you less aware of your body's signals. So you get more dehydrated in addition to when you sit for too long and you start to make your body all achy. Like video games make that even worse since you're not aware of it because you lose sense of what your body's doing. And then otherwise, let's see. Finally, for children, video games are often designed to waste time with side quests and things to keep children busy so their parents can do what they want.
Interrupt you. That is your time for your third point. One thing I will ask if each individual would like to present a closing argument. Or
I have a counterpoint opportunity, do I not, Judge? Yeah, it's his last point. He just presented his last point. I get to do it. I get to do a counterpoint.
Yeah, he gets a minute.
Okay, you are correct. I apologize.
This was the most appalling point because it lacked any scientific rigor. He's applauding the fact that these researchers.
3 citations.
He's applauding the fact that these researchers out of the gate said, we're not going to look at the effects of video game. We're going to assume it's bad. What kind of a hypothesis is that? I'm going to do the same thing. We have research. We're not even going to look to see if water's healthy. We're going to assume it's bad and see how bad water can be if you have too much water. If you have too much water, you drown. If you have too much water, if you have too much water, your cells will release they'll kill themselves to try to prevent from getting overhydrated. Similarly, if you exercise too much, you'll undergo what's called rhabdomyolysis, where your body starts to eat itself. You know what? You know how to prevent rhabdomyolysis? It's called taking a break. Nobody said you have to only play video games and not exercise, only play video games and not read books, only play video games and not socialize with people. You can socialize while playing video games. You can exercise while playing video games. You can get busy, as you were saying, while playing video games. You can play video games with your children. There are good games and there are bad games, just like there's good food and bad food, just like there's good books and bad books and good outside activities and bad outside activities. Video games are great.
Your time is up.
Can I get 10 to 15 seconds to clarify?
No. Yes, go ahead.
Okay.
I know who's sleeping with a judge tonight.
About the researchers not even asking the question, that was my comment on this paper I found was a literature review with multiple different studies, and we can link it in the show notes or something if you like, but these are multiple papers and it's just an established fact. It's not that the researchers weren't assuming it. It's just something that's known.
So you skip the hard part of proving that they're bad and you just assumed it's bad. I'm going to skip the hard part of proving that video games are good and just assume they're good. There we go. Now we're at a stalemate. Done. Closing arguments. Give me the title.
All right. You have given me much to deliberate and consider. And during a quick recess, I will single-handedly deliberate myself and we'll see what comes out. Okay. Order back in this court. After deliberation, This single hand has deliberated hard and fast and repeatedly for hours. And I am in favor of the plaintiff. The thing is,
that's what
having
bullcrap.
hard actual studies to present to the
Faulty
court,
studies.
and the defendant seemed to be defending and counterpointing more than actually providing valid results himself. I feel
provided
like
logic,
the jury
whereas this guy
and
provided-
myself, the plaintiff, has struck to our core and what we are as humans. Life is bigger than games and just experiences and problem solving. As
Life
the
is a
defendant
game. This is
tried
stupid.
to make.
Okay,
Thank you
know
for
what?
your
I'll
time.
provide the logic.
My
1 + 1 =
decision
2.
is final. Scott, debater, please take your crown. And Alex, as the loser, please take your bean.
Spin the damn bean thing.
I don't.
Oh, I got it. I got it.
Choice. You take whatever
Toothpaste.
bean you want.
Hold on, no, we'll do it live. You're not going to trust me as toothpaste. It's freaking kangaroo court. I call an appeal.
No kangaroo court in here. How's it feel to be the master debater, Scott?
We got banana smoothie or dead fish.
Oh, dead fish is nasty.
Only dead fish I know is what you got in between your pants, Judge.
Oh, listen.
So I got a story about that dead
fish. Pikachu and then Scott being the new master debater, I'm on cloud 9, and that's dead fish. Court is adjourned.